Hey VC, it's Mazzy here with the Archivist again. Amanda, the Archivist. If you don't know what that is, you need to watch the previous video, Whack-A-Mole number 30, and you can get the whole rigmarole. But while she's visiting here, we're including her in this very special edition of Whack-A-Mole because people have requested more Amanda and more archificial, is that a word?
No.
Okay, not a word. Anyway, cheers, VC, and
Cheers.
with a twist and with an olive. Okay, Amanda, what are we calling this?
Today we're talking sleepers.
Sleepers, not specifically Woody Allen sleepers, because that's not really what it's about. We're not really talking cinema.
No.
We're talking sleepers records, and this is just our friggin' opinion. Records that we like by artists that mainly maybe is not their main album. Maybe it's not their most popular favorite album that you see all the time. Sometimes it's maybe just an artist that has one album that you don't see a lot. Obviously, there's people out there that are going to see it and know about it, but maybe you'll learn something. Because maybe we're going to definitely learn something from each other. Sure. As well. But I just thought, as I said in the earlier video, one of our connections in terms of friendship has been Woody Allen. That's why Amanda thought of this name Sleeper, and we thought of the Woody Allen movies sort of as a launching pad to just go randomly, possibly. But I told Amanda that I'm obsessed with Woody Allen. And what did you say instead of obsession?
Completist.
I'm a completist. I have all his movies, and obviously, you know, he's made some fantastic, perfect movies, but he's made, what, a movie a year, so he's made something like, what, 50 movies?
Yeah.
Or something. So even if he made 10 perfect ones, 10 good ones, 10 okay ones, 10 like mediocre ones, and 10 crap, pretty good odds, you say,
so
right?
Pretty good
right.
ratio.
But anyway, I'm going to show this just to begin with. This is my Woody Allen book collection.
Not obsessive.
But we're not going to go there. All right. Playing in the background, you may or may not hear it, but it's a little ambient music, or soundtracks from Woody Allen movies. And you probably know, if you're a fan of Woody Allen, or even if you've watched a few of his movies, most of his scores tend to be traditional jazz, classical music, found music. Every once in a while, he's had a composer do things. He had a movie a few years ago, or within the last decade, that Philip Glass did the soundtrack on. Dick Hyman did a couple of his, who's kind of a jazzy piano player, arranger, and no jokes about his name. Dick Hyman. Wouldn't you change your name if you were a kid? I mean, so I would be really pissed at my parents. Right. So, anyway, I don't know if we sort of pulled out thing. We didn't stack them here because I don't know.
We didn't.
We didn't. So, do you want to start, or should I start? Or?
Sure, I'll start. The idea came to me. You know, I think everyone probably is familiar, most people are familiar with The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. But Gil Scott-Heron, a few years just before he died, did this, which is...
For you?
What's the name of it again? Yeah. I'm new here. And it really comes originally from his poetry, which he had never stopped writing, but ended up having the opportunity to put out this record, and it's, I think one of the songs was actually featured, if I'm not mistaken, in an episode of True Blood. So it got a little bit of a spark, but then it kind of faded into obscurity, and I don't really know why, because it's an incredible record. And
fantastic. This is either the album that came out right before he died, or there's one more after this right before. Do you remember? I don't.
I don't remember exactly.
But Gil Scott-Heron, again, as Amanda said, The Revolution Will Not Be Televised back in the 70s. A lot of people say he's sort of a forefront of rap music. And, you know, the godfather, or the grandfather, or the great uncle, or the great great uncle, or the great great.
Generally related to
rap.
Yeah.
All right. We can leave these here. We're not going to file them away. So
Yeah.
I'll grab something now. And again, okay. You know, I'm going to go with something commercial artist, but a record you don't hear a lot about, or I don't hear a lot about. And there's two camps of fans of Steve Miller and the Steve Miller Band. Those of us who really like from the very beginning the psychedelic, Children of the Future, Sailor, the first 5, 6, 7 albums, up until, not that we don't like after that, but when he does The Joker and Fly Like an Eagle and basically did the same things over and over again. Obviously, all the power to any musician to start really making money and selling records, because he didn't make a lot. Anyway, this album, Your Saving Grace, I think it's his, I'm going to blank out, the third or fourth album on Capitol Records. Again, produced by Glyn Johns. As you know, both Steve Miller and Boz Scaggs were friends. They grew up together in Texas, moved to San Francisco. They started the Steve Miller Blues Band, and Boz Scaggs was on the first 2 albums. But what I like about this record, well, first of all, again, this came out in 70, oh, it's 1969. Oh, God, this is a 50th year anniversary, and nobody ever talks about this album. Excuse me. But one of my favorite things... Hello! Hello, am I on the air?
Yikes!
Now for something you'll really like. Hello, poetry lovers. Sorry, that was my... when I get like a little froggy, I go into Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Bullwinkle in that one.
Yeah. Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of a hat. Okay. But Baby's House, who's amazing on this record is, and I've talked to him many times, Nicky Hopkins, the great piano player who played on a lot of the middle to late Kinks records, big part of the Kinks sound, even though he wasn't really credited. He played with the Jefferson Airplane, Quicksilver Messenger, with the Rolling Stones, John Lennon. He's on this and is a big part of this, especially the song Baby's House, with a beautiful long piano. I think it's called Baby's House. Is this the right album? Yeah, Baby's House. He plays piano and organ on it. It's almost a 9-minute song, and it's just stunning. It's gorgeous. But this is sort of a sleeper in the Steve Miller catalog, so I suggest everyone find this record. I mean, it seems to be one of the cheaper ones because...
It's the sleeper.
Because it's a sleeper. No wonder she's an archivist. Your turn, my dear.
Oh.
Archivist.
Let's do this one. Let's go to Tatro by Willie Nelson. I think it's hard to say that any Willie Nelson albums are sleepers because I don't really know that he's put out any tremendous failures, although sales-wise that is the case.
And remember, for a while, I don't know if you know the history, he was making albums left and right to pay back taxes. He had a big tax issue back in the 80s, I believe, or 90s or something, 80s. And he's kind of in a way like the Stephen King of country artists, where he seems to put an album out every other week for a while, right?
Yeah, for a while he did, yeah. It seemed like it. I don't know that it really happened that way, but yeah.
Hey, we make shit up on the VC, don't we?
But Tatro is not so discussed, unfortunately, but it's a great album.
Daniel Lanois produced it, and Daniel Lanois, a lot of you know, has worked with U2 and I forgot a lot. That's probably makes all his money. Him and Brian Eno sort of collaborate as co-producers on those albums. But that gets beyond. I didn't pull any now, but Daniel Lanois' solo albums are amazing. But in this album, he got Willie to kind of go out of his normal sound. They rented this old movie theater, and do you remember? Is that in Texas or Tulsa or?
I don't remember.
Well, they recorded it in that movie theater. They basically set up the studio within the movie theater. Let's see if we can find this out for the fans here. And I believe Emmylou Harris is on it, possibly, and yeah, there's Emmylou and Daniel Lanois. I'm a big fan of Emmylou.
Absolutely. Everyone should be.
Right.
She is amazing.
But this theater. This is a great record. It's got a very different feel to it sonically, and it's gorgeous. I think this was a Record Store Day issue 3 or 4 years ago, but it came out again as a reissue because originally it was only on
CD.
Compact disc. Yeah, exactly. Because it came out in 1998 during the CD heyday. But again, highly recommended. Maybe a sleeper. Hey, we're making it a sleeper. So, you know, if we say so, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So, okay. Ba-da-ba-ba-da. Now, everybody knows. Everybody
He's
knows.
one of my favorites.
Leonard Cohen. Okay. Everyone loves Leonard Cohen now, you know.
Do they?
Well, he's dead, but we still love him. Not everyone loves him, but I love it, Leonard Cohen. Amanda loves Leonard Cohen.
Deeply.
A lot of people hate this record, or didn't understand this record, or this is sort of the whack-a-mole. It's totally. This is the one that stands out, doesn't fit in. Death of a Ladies' Man came out in 78, I believe, 77, 78-ish. And it's produced by Phil Spector.
Which gives it a different sound, obviously. That's where the sound change happens.
The big wall of sound, and it's almost like Leonard Cohen's lyric, Leonard Cohen doing soft porn.
Which can only be a good thing. Said every woman ever.
How can I follow that statement? Death of a Ladies' Man. I mean, True Love leaves no traces. Paper Thin Motel. I Left a Woman Waiting. That's a hysterical song. Here's one of the names of the song. This. I mean, if you just heard this, I don't know if this was a single. If there was a single, Don't Go Home with Your Heart On.
Which, if you need a song for a mixtape, that's a good one.
I don't know what else to say about this.
It's freaking great.
It is
Find
great.
it out. If you don't love it,
It's
you
become
will.
a cult record. A lot of people don't like it. I think there was a time after this came out, even Leonard Cohen himself sort of disavowed it in a way. But I think later on...
Phil Spector's problematic.
Yeah. You know, I really wanted to... Amanda wrestle with me. What I wanted to do, first I wanted to wear a colander on my head and put like a cork in my mouth as this. And then I kind of thought, well, maybe I should do like the Phil Spector haircut, you know, when he was in prison, or the crazy, sorry, I shouldn't put it in front of your face. Anyway, Death of a Ladies' Man on Warner Brothers Records. So this is sort of a period where he left Columbia for, it wasn't really successful. And what can I say?
I don't know, it's great.
19...
Seek it out. If you see it, get it.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's worth it. 1977, Death of a Ladies' Man, Leonard Cohen.
Woo. I love that one.
Okay.
Let's see. What's next? Oh, you wanted to talk about this one. We'll grab this one quick.
Oh. Okay. Doug Somm. Let's kind of feel. There we go. Yeah, I'm sorry to art direct you.
Yeah, it's good at that.
Hey, it's my room. I can do what the fuck I want to. Doug Somm. I know a lot of people lately, including my greatest, biggest, wonderful, most adoring #1 fan, posted. I think he posted in the Mazzy 1969 video, Sir Douglas Quintet, the Mendocino album, which is a great record. Well, if you don't know, Sir Douglas is Doug Somm. He lived in the Bay Area for a while in the 70s. Obviously, most people know him from Austin. He's from Texas. But this period in the early 70s, I believe, what year is it? 73, 74, I'm thinking. Can you read this shit? How small?
Yeah, 73.
73. He did a series of records for Atlantic Records, which are really great. Really upbeat, really fun. Actually, Bob Dylan is on one song here.
Dylan, there's a Willie Nelson song on here. Me and Paul, that's a great one.
San Antone. Anyone? That was kind of a big radio play.
Oh yeah, San
Is everybody? What's it called?
Is anybody going to San Antone?
Is there anybody going to San Antone? Great thing. Where did that come from? Because there's it. What's his name? That song. I'm going to say like a twofer here because this is the other one that to me, they're about a year apart, I believe, sequential. This is 1973, so the same year. So he did 2 albums that year, and this is on Atlantic Records too. Sir Douglas Band with the Texas Tornadoes, called Texas Tornadoes. San Francisco FM Blues obviously got a lot of radio play on KSAN Radio, which was the big FM underground. By that point, probably wasn't underground, but the big AOR, album-oriented radio. That was a great song. Also, Blue Horizon, kind of bluesy, horn players on it.
It says T-Bone Walker's song on it, Papa Ain't Salty. It's a good song.
Yeah, so both these records are a great sort of twofer. So I would say if you see these records, get them. They're gorgeous. Who produced these? Did he produce them? I don't even know. Does it matter? Yeah, he produced this one, so he probably produced that one. Augie Myers is on it playing his great organ. Augie Myers was in the Sir Douglas Quintet. You know Mendocino. What was the big hit?
Falco Jimenez plays the accordion on this. That's pretty great.
Flacco is on here too. The whole, that Texas sound. Yeah.
That's pretty great.
Flacco. We love Flacco. Now, the other, what's the other big hit? She's About a Mover. She's About a Mover was the big first hit single in the 1966, I believe, by the Sir Douglas Quintet. Woo. So, there we go.
Yeah, good one.
Moving right along.
Yeah. Cheers. Cheers to that.
Okay.
Because that was a good one.
Cheers. This is an impression of Ray Charles toasting to Stevie Wonder. Cheers. 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 I know it's not politically correct, but Okay.
These are the
Your
jokes.
turn.
What else can I grab from where I am sitting?
That's what she said.
Wow. We were going to talk about this one.
Oh, I realized I'm trying to get the light. I got screwed last time with this ring light. It gets in my glasses, but it's pointing up. I apologize here. My new lighting thing is not quite working how I planned because I'm getting ring light.
Here's another twofer that you wanted to chat about.
Okay, ring light reflection in my glasses. I got to figure this out next time. This room needs a little kind of fill, light fill. But when you have glasses,
Okay, hold that one.
Little Village. This is from 1980 something. I don't remember what it is. And Rockpile.
We love Nick Lowe. Oh, of course, because who doesn't? Because he's amazing. And still is amazing. You get to see him do it. Keep going.
Oh. Well, Nick Lowe originally was in the whole pub rock scene of Britain. He was in Brinsley Schwartz. And most people on the VC, or not even on the VC, most people know him because of his solo records and originally him producing the first couple of albums by, the first album especially, by Elvis Costello. And Nick Lowe wrote What's So Funny About Love, Peace, and Understanding. And a great story, I've said it before, but I'll shorten it. One time I heard Nick Lowe about 10 years ago on Fresh Air on PBS, and they were talking, and I forgot how the subject came up, but he said one of the most remarkable days was one day he walked to his mailbox, and he gets, you get your royalty checks when you're a musician, and he opens up like a check from ASCAP BMI where musicians get royalties from their songs and their music and recordings, or if they're the publishing basically, and he got a check for $1 million. I don't know if it was exact. He got about $1 million check, and he had no idea what it was for. And it turns out the song What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding is on the soundtrack to The Bodyguard. The Whitney Houston film, and that was at the time the biggest selling soundtrack of all time. Anyway, I digress. We digress, or I digress. Rockpile was the band he had with Dave Edmunds. Who else is in this band? Is it Billy Bremer, who was, I think he was part of Brinsley Schwartz too, and Terry Williams was on drums. I saw them, this is where, it's really where I can tell. I saw him the week of December 8th, 1980. I saw Rockpile at the Warfield Theater in San Francisco. The only reason I know that, it was the week, Monday night on December 8th, 1980, John Lennon was assassinated. the end of that week, I saw them, and they did a little tribute. What is it? December, what is it?
12th.
So December 12th, see? Mazzy doesn't lie.
You said
I'm
8th?
not well, December 8th when Lennon was killed. Later that week, I saw them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
actually on here. Their tour schedule is on here.
And this, I
So-
think, this came with a 45. Is there a 45 inside there?
Seconds of Pleasure, Weeks of Touring.
It came with a free single. Yeah, see? I remember this shit. I know my shit.
You do.
See? Anyway, moving on to Little Village. This was a one-off super group, and I saw them at a club called the Old Waldorf in San Francisco sometime in the 80s. I'm not remember here, but a mini super group. I don't mean mini, but it's Nick Lowe, Ry Cooder,
Who you
Jim-
know he loves.
and you know I love, the best guitar player, my favorite guitar player. On drums, Jim Keltner, and on vocals and guitar, John Hiatt. One of the great songwriters. Now, I could pull John Hiatt for this. I didn't think of that right now, but to me, John Hiatt got mentioned. Someone just pointed out John Hiatt. Was it the Homo Introvert? Was it? I don't remember, but I love John Hiatt. I've seen him many times. I got most of his albums between vinyl and CD, but he's on here too. This is a great record. You can see their live shows. I think they did a couple of TV spots on YouTube. But it's got a great thing because they trade out singing, do a couple of old songs. It opens up with Solar Sex Panel. That might be an instrumental, as I recall. But
It's a good name, though.
yeah, Solar Sex Panel, right? Those are the things that you have on your roof. I don't know.
I don't think everyone has quite those on their roof.
I'd like to have a solar sex panel on my roof, I think.
Things to aspire to.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna... Moving right along.
We all need hobbies. Right?
Sure. Okay. My guess is this next artist, Amanda's going to think is wimpy, but I like him. I don't know if he's still on Yep Rock, but Josh Rouse. These are older albums. I mean, in 2003 and 2004, these came out. Royco disc. He's a singer-songwriter, American, but then I think he moved to Spain at one point. Both are good records. I guess this has a Nashville sound to it.
Don't
But
let the giant Nashville across the front. Give it away. Come on, that's funny.
this record, but okay, he's kind of a singer-songwriter. I don't want to say in the vein of the early 70s, James Taylor, Tom Rush, Carole King, if Carole King had pants on and it was a guy. But this one especially, it's called 1972. The way the songs are written, the way the songs were recorded, the way the songs are produced, sounds like an album from 1972. And it's a beautiful album. I love this record. This is highly recommended from Mazzy's point of view. Obviously, these are sort of indie cult. I think he has a good following, though. I think he sells steady. People see him. I don't know if he still lives in Europe or everything. You know, to be honest with you, I haven't bought his last few albums, and now that I'm reminded, I think I need to, because it's kind of a light early 70s sound. Remember that song Sunshine by Jonathan Edwards in like 1971 or 2? Sunshine died away today.
Yeah, I love that song.
Then you'll fucking love Josh Rouse. I mean, he's not cut up. That is a great song. It's a
It's
great
a
record.
great record. Oh, I'll pull that.
Pull it. Edwards alert. But anyway, Josh Rouse, I think it's Rouse. The songs are 1972, Love Vibration, Sunshine, Come On Lady, James, Slave Ship, so Under Your Charm. So it's got a very early 70s, really kind of aura to it. With 70s flourishes. I know people like when I say flourishes to it. but it's got that kind of thing, and it's really kind of a wonderful record. I like him a lot. Edwards. Yeah, this is the album. That's it. Oh, you can tell. There was a day back in 1970, 71 where I used to do this. I don't know why. Maslov. I used to write my name on my fucking record sometimes. But look at this. Someone mentioned that how your records are so pristine. Because I'm a fucking Virgo and I take care of my property and I don't like stack them up and I don't usually loan them out or anything. But this
record is wonderful.
Yeah, if you don't know this record, if you ever see this record, you got to buy it.
Yeah.
Sunshine was actually a hit. I mean, not huge, but it was a regular AM play. Beautiful record, but the whole record, right? You have
Yeah,
this?
I do.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm
and the
surprised.
one before or after this one is also really good.
Yeah.
I can't remember the
it's on
name.
Capricorn Records, 1971. So I was in high school. You weren't alive.
I was not.
Bill Keith. You know, Bill Keith, he plays pedal steel and banjo. Bill Keith played with Neil Young a lot with Crazy Horse, I guess, and that whole thing. Recorded in Boston, Massachusetts. I don't know much about him, but...
people give me a lot of shit for liking him, but I really, really like this record.
God, this is gorgeous. And look how perfect this is. This is VGG. This is near mint minus. I'm not selling it, but it's got my name on it, so... And it's got that... God, look at that. Look at that. Not one
Capricorn
fucking scratch. The pink
label.
1971. I bought this record is 48 years old. That's older than most of you on the VC. And that's older than half the people in this room. We won't tell you which half, but okay.
All right, I'll do one of mine.
It's your turn? Oh, sorry. I didn't see you get it. It's like a magician. Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of a hat. And now for something you really like.
I don't know if this is a sleeper hit for many people, but everyone knows The Clash. But not everyone listens to Joe Strummer's later records. And this is one of my favorites. Joe Strummer and the Mescaleros, Streetcore. The first song is absolutely like Burn Down the House, amazing song, Coma Girl. You just roll down the windows and, you know, just blare it, and it's epic. If you don't know this record, find it, play it very loud. It's an all-time top 5 desert island style record, I would say.
You know, one thing that I'll always remember about this record, he does a version of Bob Marley's Redemption song.
Which is so good.
It's gorgeous. And what's interesting about this recording, I believe, and someone, if you know better, tell me, I think it's the exact same take as he does. There's a duet on the Johnny Cash American, the Afterbox, the Unchained, basically the box set or the series of the CD and the box set CD that came out after Johnny Cash died that had all the songs that were never released on the original 5 or so American albums produced by Rick Rubin. And there's a duet with Joe Strummer and Johnny Cash, a Redemption song. And they trade off verses. And I believe it's the exact same verse except for this song. Obviously, he sings it all straight through. And then on the version on the Johnny Cash collection is them alternating versions. And then I think they sing maybe a chorus together. I can't remember. But I think it's the exact same track, just with the vocals swapped out.
And if you haven't seen The Future Is Unwritten, find that documentary. It's incredible. We saw it together.
Julian Temple directed it, who was a great documentary. He did a lot of music documentary. He did Nevermind, the Sex Pistols documentary, which I saw in London when it came out in 1980, I think. Was it 80? I saw that documentary. Julian Temple also directed a lot of music videos, and he did a great movie that, I think the first half of this movie, Absolute Beginners, he directed. It kind of fades a little bit, but it's got, you know, Bowie, and there's a great Ray Davis song, and Sade, and Gil Evans does a lot of the
soundtrack is good.
Soundtrack, great soundtrack. We're
You
kind
can
of
find that on vinyl. It's
yeah,
great.
I have it in my vinyl room. Every room in this fucking house is a vinyl room. This is a vinyl house.
Yeah.
You should see the thing. I have one of those stickers you can buy online that says, "In case of fire, save my 10,000 records" or whatever, and it's stuck out there for the fire department. You know, fuck the animals and children. Save my fucking records.
Right?
I'm kidding. You know, don't get all
Kind of.
wonky on it. Well, you know. All right. Okay, I know what I'm going to do here. Now, we all know Quicksilver Messenger Service, or a lot of us do, and because all you friggin' people that say psych, and I say psychedelic, the Summer of Love, the San Francisco Band's 1968, Quicksilver's first album, self-titled, and their second album, Happy Trails, that's, you know, mostly live. Great albums. Then Shady Grove. Then after that, Dino Valenti finally gets out of prison. They fucking add echo on every record. Although the irony is they have their biggest hit ever, Have Another Hit of Fresh Air. You know, good kind of doper song in 1970 or whatever it was. To me, once Dino came back in the band, it kind of wrecked Quicksilver. All that drenched in reverb crap. However, you know, because he went in prison for drugs. This album, and this is my, first of all, this is my original copy in stereo. He did a folk album for Epic Records and was produced by Bob Johnson, who worked with Bob Dylan, right?
Yes.
You know Bob, yeah. She knows this shit. It's a gorgeous record. It's a folk record, almost him acoustic guitar, almost alone, like it is Me and My Uncle, which some of you deadheads may know, which is an older song. But the song, Children of the Sun, 7 minutes, it's spacey folk. One could say psych folk, as you VC youngsters say, but it's just a folk album, drenched in reverb. But to me, it works on this record. I don't like it in the Quicksilver as much, but it really works well. I love this record. KSN Radio again in San Francisco used to play Children of the Sun. It was on their kind of local heavy rotation. This is a reissue of the mono version, which is really hard to find. Tompkins Square, I don't know if they're even still around. They're a San Francisco label, reissue label. But it's a great record. Ralph J. Gleason, who was a big critic, jazz pop critic for the San Francisco Chronicle, wrote the liner notes on this when it came out in 1968, I believe. Yeah, 1968. So I suggest if you see this record and you like folk music, haunting folk music and ballads, get this. Have you ever heard this?
Yeah, you gave me a copy years ago.
Oh, digital? Did I? Or CD?
No, we picked it up vinyl, I think.
Wow. Spoiler alert. Anyway, great album, and that's to me a sleeper of an album.
Yeah.
And it got, I mean, it must be a sleeper if it got reissued, 50 years later, right? I think for the 50th, 2 years ago, or a year ago, so.
13, I think it said.
Okay, it was a 45th anniversary. So give me a fucking break, man.
Snarky.
Do you want to pull the next one?
I don't think I have any more.
Well,
we're down to yours.
Oh,
whatever you have left. Oh, actually, there's one more. I don't know that this is, but I think we should highlight it anyway.
Okay.
Since we talked about Billy Bragg yesterday, and we got some comments on it, and people love Billy Bragg. Who doesn't love Billy Bragg? This came out 2 years ago? 3, 2.
You're the expert on years.
I am not. Shut up. But this album, Shine a Light, which is Billy Bragg and Joe Henry doing kind of field recordings on trains, actually.
Who's Joe Henry?
Who is Joe Henry?
He's Joe Henry. He produces
He's
a lot
this
of
guy.
country
He's
stuff.
amazing, actually. He wears his hat on a tilt, which is apparently a thing. I got a whole thing about that the other day. The tilted hat.
Did you see the front? It's autographed copy. I saw him. Easy Street Records in Seattle. That he did. They both did an in-store and they played live, and I got it signed by them.
Mazzy and I really awaited the release of this record. And there's a cover of In the Pines, which we also mentioned yesterday.
Right.
Great kind of folk songs and Americana, and just kind of a really touchstone back to
Hobo's Lullaby, which is Woody Guthrie.
Absolutely.
Arlo Guthrie recorded it. Gentle on My Mind. which was the big hit by Glenn Campbell, written by, what's his name? You know, the big songwriter who wrote, come on, I'm blanking out. You guys, someone's going to write it down there. The songwriter that wrote MacArthur Park and, come on.
Oh yeah, it's got Rock Island Line, Midnight Special. What else is on here? Casey Moon, Waiting for a Train. That's a great classic song. Everyone knows that one. At the actual song, John Henry, which is really
John Hart. Never, I was
wonderful.
wrong. I'm sorry. John Hartford wrote it, not the other guy who wrote. Okay, John Hartford wrote "Gentle on My Mind." I'm blanking out. Which keep
Ooh,
talking.
Yeah. I don't know how much else I can say about it other than the story behind the recording of this record is really great, and the fact that they really recorded these. They rode the trains. They went to the train stations. They did these field recordings, like old school field recordings, which is really cool. Because you get kind of that ambient noise, you get that really interesting kind of feel from all these non-place recording studios. Non-place being a reference to the whole, my best friend will be very proud that I use that term. But yeah, I don't know, go ahead.
John Hartford wrote "Gentle on My Mind," which was the huge hit for Glenn Campbell, and it's on that album. Someone posted this recently, and again, you know how it is. There's so many wonderful videos from the VC. I don't remember who posted it. This is an amazing album. Anybody who's into sort of country, folky, alternate, this album by John Hartford, banjo player, guitar player, great songwriter. But look at that. Was this 1972 or something?
Yeah, it's a great
1971.
photo. It's amazing.
It starts out with, I mean, it has a song, "Hey Baby Wanna Boogie," which is not acapella, which is really out there. But
He looks like a burner,
right?
Burning Man.
Right?
Or the Unabomber.
This is a wonderful... I think that...
He's neither, but yes.
that I wonder if John, with a parentheses H, has one of those Unabomber houses in his backyard. It seems like that would be something in... are you in... You're Charlotte, right? Charlotte, of course, that's a big city. You know, we're fucking wankers here on the West Coast. We're snooty wankers. I really want to...
Speak for yourself. I'm from the South.
All right. But you're from Florida, right?
Yeah.
See, I don't... Okay.
He says right like he doesn't know.
But you're from the Panhandle, correct?
Yes, correct.
Where are you from, Amanda?
Pensacola, Florida.
Okay.
South of the South.
I
if
asked
you're a
her.
David Dunn
We had a
fan.
laughing fit once because she was going home to visit. I was going to send her some stuff, whatever. And I asked her if in Pensacola they had the internet.
I was like, you mean the internet? Like, do we have the internet? Do we have technology?
Hey, it's
Yeah,
the Panhandle.
It's a thing.
See, to me, it's always...
We have that everywhere.
It's always like, except for the Jewish and the Cuban part of Florida. I don't know.
Yeah.
I get
the top part, he's like...
I get spilkas,
what?
as
It's like-
Yiddish, as my people say. But I hear there's a really big... Okay, this is a good... Let's kind of...
Oh, well,
Yeah.
Sidetrack.
I hear there's a real good, there was, or maybe is still, a post-punk, but a punk scene in Pensacola. I had no idea.
Absolutely, yeah.
Tell people.
If you happen to be anywhere near Pensacola, Florida, highly suggest you go check out the T.T. Wentworth Museum if you have any interest in the punk scene. Right now, and through the end of the year, I believe, the T.T. Wentworth Museum is doing a special show with the 309 Punk House archive, which 309 has been a mainstay in Pensacola for years. It's a punk house, one of the longest running punk houses in the South, continuously inhabited. And there is a ton of information about the history of punk performances and the creative kind of underground scene in Pensacola and the surrounding area. It's really wonderful. It's an incredible show, highly recommended. Please go see it if you get the chance. I cannot recommend it enough. Pensacola has a incredible, thriving history of punk, subversive, underground culture, train hopping.
The art scene is...
The art scene, the zines that came out of there, the art, the records dedicated and that actually reference Pensacola are numerous in number. Go check it out.
I'm impressed. An archivist. Okay. Laurie Anderson. This album.
She's a killer.
Mr. Heartbreak.
Absolutely killer.
Okay. I got an Indy 45 when I worked in record stores in the 70s that just blew the fuck. My head exploded when I heard it. And you've heard it, and if you haven't, you need to hear it. Out there, electronic, not punk, not post-punk, but totally different. Oh, Superman. You've heard Oh, Superman. It was an independent, then Warner Brothers picks her up, and that first Oh, Superman album, the first album, God damn it, Mazzy, Big Science.
Yeah.
This is a fucking great, This was
the hit, though, yeah.
Yeah, the hit, if there was a hit, if you want to call it a hit, but it got a play, got noticed. A stunning piece of music. Classical, avant-garde-ish in the pop realm. If you haven't heard it, you need to hear Oh Superman. You may not like it, but it's a beautiful piece of music. Anyway, her second album, she get picked up by Warner Brothers. Second album is this, which is just as great, not as maybe out there original as that, but on this record, not only is Laurie Anderson, think of it, this is 1984. But the people on this, Laurie Anderson, Adrian Blue, great guitar player, played with King Crimson for a while in that 80s period. William S. Burroughs is on this. And in fact, there's a song called Sharky's Day and Sharky's Night, and William Burroughs, that's actually a bad impression of William Burroughs, but he kind of sings, sings on it.
Yeah.
And it's incredible.
It's incredible. Anytime you get to hear his voice is great, though.
Yeah, I mean,
truly.
Peter Gabriel, the best lead singer in the history of the world for Genesis. Bill Laswell, who was a great bass player, also a great producer. Anton Fear, that whole kind of New York scene that was going on, the East Village. Niles Rodgers, as some of you know, funky Niles Rodgers, who ended up producing David Bowie's Let's Dance when he got kind of funky. And was he in the Chic, or I could be wrong. Chic, is he in Niles Rodgers? Chic. Phoebe Snow's on it. Whatever you think about Phoebe Snow, Poetry Man is a great singer. And people I don't know, Janet Wright and Atsuko Yuma. But produced by Bill Laswell and Laurie Anderson. Bill Laswell had a lot, Bill Laswell produced Pill, Johnny Lydon, after the Sex Pistols. He had that really heavy drum thing. There's a great remixing of Miles Davis that Bill Laswell did. I'm blanking. Oh, the Golden Palominos, I think, was Anton Fear and Bill Laswell. And that whole kind of, I don't want to say it's danceable, heavy bass and drums, but a little post-punky thing, New York scene that was going on in the kind of early mid-'80s, which is really cool, and I kind of really got into that. But Bill Laswell used to search out things that he's worked on, the collaboration. But this, to me, is a sleeper Laurie Anderson. I love everything she's done, and I keep buying her records when she puts out. She did an album last year or the year before with Kronos Quartet on Nonsuch. There's a documentary she did about something dogs, I forget the name of it. And those of you may or may not know, she was married to Lou Reed up until his death. So I don't know if it was the last 10 years of his life or something. So she's sort of in control of the Lou Reed estate. But Laurie Anderson's a personal favorite of mine.
And this actually also came out on cassette. It says so on the back, which I really like.
Well, that was the time.
I know. I just like it.
Anything else? There's a few things we kind of pulled. But
what do you want to go out with a bang?
Oh, out with a bang.
Out with a bang.
Well, this isn't out with a bang, and this gets shown occasionally.
Then pick something else.
I like this record. There's nothing.
What's that?
It's a Knitters, but it's not a bangable record.
I don't know.
There's no bangable records here.
No bangables.
No bangables, but you may or not know this. Great record, Crazy Horse. Crazy Horse, their solo album on Reprise Records in 1971. Crazy Horse was, Danny Whitten, Jack Nietzsche, Ralph Molina, Billy Talbot. You know of Crazy Horse because they were Neil Young's sort of support band. I hate to say backup band because every couple of Neil Young records was with Crazy Horse. They have the Neil Young record, then there'd be like 2 records with Neil Young, Crazy Horse. They had a great sound. Also on this record, who was amazing at the time, is, oh God, what's his name? Oh, Niels Lofgren. And you know Niels Lofgren. My greatest wonderful fan knows Niels Lofgren because he's been in the Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band for, God, was it 25 years now? Has it been 30 years? I don't even know. But he's been there. His solo albums are great. You know, that would have been a good one. Some early Niels Lofgren records. Cry Tough and the one before it with Back It Up Baby is a great song. But this is kind of a cool record. Gone Dead Train is on. It opens up with Gone Dead Train's a great song written by Randy Newman. Wonderful version of that. Dance, Dance, Dance. Beggar's Day. I think Beggar's Day is a, if I might be wrong, but it's a Niels Lofgren song because he does it on one of his solo records. That's why I know about it. So, Downtown. Anyway, not the Downtown, not the Pet Clark song Downtown, but I love this record. I remember this is a record I got when I joined, when I did the thing for like you get, what is it, 10 records for a penny from the Columbia House Music Service. So what you do is you put your name in, or you put your neighbor's name in, you send in for a penny, you get 10 records, it goes to your neighbor's house, and you steal it off their porch before they get home. And they get billed.
Yeah, because that's nice.
I don't really do that. I didn't really do that.
And I will say, just to go out.
Okay, we're going out with a bang now.
I don't know if it's really a bang, but, you know, people only know one song by this band, really. And they are... 2 songs, that's true.
With a girl like...
Yeah.
Ba-da-dum-bum-bum. Ba-da-dum-bum-bum.
So, the Trogs. Just a really underappreciated band. I have like one friend other than Maslov who truly appreciates the Trogs, I think. My friend Robin. She and I bonded over a love of the Trogs early on when we first met, and I just can't say enough. If you only know 2 songs by the Trogs, go find their other stuff. It's freaking great. They were a great band and deeply underappreciated.
And Wild Thing wasn't even written by them. It was written by James Taylor's brother, I think, maybe?
Yeah, somebody else wrote
Carlton
it.
Taylor, I forgot his name right now. Reg Presley wrote
Taylor.
It might be Carlton.
Yeah.
With A Girl Like You is the other great one. That was sort of a semi-hit, not as big as Wild Thing. Everyone likes, Wild Thing. It's been in movies and commercials.
A Girl Like You, that has been covered a thousand
With A Girl Like
times.
You, they wrote it. Reg Presley wrote it. This is actually...
Lost Girl, that's a great song.
This is a nice version because this is my original, beautiful, wonderful Atco mono. And this is like in perfect shape. I don't know. I played records a lot, and I don't know why they're all still in perfect shape. I think because I didn't eat on my records, I didn't stack them on top of each other, I didn't snort cocaine from them or anything like
regularly lick them.
I didn't loan them out. I mean, there's a few little blemishes here, but I mean...
It's actually pristine.
For a 52-year-old record, or whatever, it's 66, I guess. 65, 66?
66.
Yeah, 66. 53-year-old record. This is older than half the people in this room.
Anyway, check it out. Check out the Trogs, the rest of their catalog. Highly recommended. And these are sleepers.
So, Mazzy and Archivist Amanda, thank you and love you.
We love you.
Thanks, VC, and thanks for watching. We appreciate it. I need 5 more
followers,
subscribers
to
hit 900.
Let's do it.
Come on.
Tell your friends.
Thank you. Take care. Mazzy loves you.